This is college football on ABC Sports.
There's a swirl of activity in this Iowa town. Homecoming fans are abuzz about their Cyclones as Iowa State aims for its best start in 62 years. Winning seasons have been hard to come by at Iowa State, but Coach Dan McCarney has started to surround himself with talented players. And the Cyclones have soared to a 5-1 start. They're now 1 win away from bowl eligibility. The Cyclones' biggest test came 2 weeks ago against Nebraska. Iowa State played even with the Big Red for 3 quarters, but in the end, they couldn't hang with number 1. Then last week, a freshman fill-in put the Cyclones in position for a last-minute victory.
Gage stands up, throws the slant, caught by Danielson, touchdown!
ABC Sports welcomes you to Jack Trice Stadium in Ames, Iowa for one of the most important football games ever played on this campus as the 5-1 Cyclones of Iowa State play host to the 4-2 Aggies of Texas A&M. Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough. It's great to have you with us for what the Cyclone program hopes will be a day of firsts for Iowa State football. So much at stake today for Iowa State. A victory today would clinch their first winning season since 1989, would make them bowl eligible for the first time since 1978, and it would give the Cyclones their first 6-1 start since 1938. I'm joined as always by Ed Cunningham, and it's no fluke that Iowa State is 5-1 this year. Dan McCarney and his staff have done a great job of building up the talent base.
Well, they've done an incredible job in recruiting. This is not the easiest place in the world to recruit. One guy they got here 5 years ago was Sage Rosenfels, the starting quarterback, a senior who has taken over 2 weeks ago an incredible game, 346 yards. His best at Iowa State, the 4th best ever in a single game at Iowa State. 200 and almost 80 yards a game in total offense. He's 10th in the country in total offense. And a guy that he looks for very early and very often is J.J. Moses. He had a 58-yard reverse touchdown against Iowa in the first play of the game. They get him the ball a lot of different ways. Kickoff returns, punt returns. He is first in the Big 12 in all-purpose yardage. However, Sean, he hasn't taken a kick or a punt back. Maybe we'll see that today.
Another first that the Cyclones are hoping for today, their first victory ever against Texas A&M. They're 0-4 all-time against the Aggies. The Aggies come into this one at 4-2. It's an important game for them as well. They have a very tough schedule the rest of this season, and the times are changing as well in College Station. Now it's a passing attack we see from the Aggies.
R.C. Slocum says everyone used to get mad because I didn't know how to throw it. Now they're wondering why I can't run it. Well, one of the big reasons is sophomore quarterback Mark Ferris. And I guess in college football, for you to have arrived, you have to have a former minor league baseball player, 25-year-old sophomore, very efficient, 300 yards last week, the first time for him against Baylor. A big day, but he wasn't happy. He was a little inaccurate at the end of the game and missed some big plays.
The Cyclones taking the field before this raucous crowd, and we'll have the opening kickoff from Ames, Iowa, right after this.
So that I can hardly speak.
Owning a Jeep Cherokee means more than just freedom. It means you're part of something bigger. And now get all this for no extra charge.
It all comes down to this. Ball on the 14-yard line. No timeouts left.
Tostitos? The exhilarating taste of new spicy quesadilla Tostitos chips.
Fight and march down the field. File up the touchdown.
It's fun for everyone. Dig in, kick back, Tostitos.
Now this is the fear snake, the most venomous snake in the world. One bite from him and it's all over. Yo! No worries, mate. Luckily, we've had the anti-venom sent from America via FedEx. In my line of work, if you're not absolutely sure, you're absolutely dead. Oh, crikey. It appears we've used a different courier who hasn't arrived yet. It's okay because...
And folks, we've reached the halfway point of our transatlantic flight to Chicago. Got a lot of international calls to make? Get great rates from home with AT&T's international plan. All day, every day, call 1-800-41-RATE to enroll.
Back in Ames, Iowa, this raucous crowd ready to go, as is Coach Dan McCarney. He's with Leslie Goodell.
Sean, Coach, you've got to try to figure out how to keep these guys from getting too excited. The big picture is exciting, but how do you keep them focusing on today's game?
Hey, look at A&M all week long. They're an outstanding team. This is the Big 12 game of the week, and we're excited to be a part of it.
Thanks a lot, Coach. No, Texas A&M has injury problems. Place kicker Terrence Kitchens will be playing today, but he strained a groin last week in practice on Sunday. He hasn't kicked all week. He'll be kicking in short yardage situations today. Very short field goals, possibly. So they may go for it more so than not on fourth down instead of trying a long field goal.
All right, Leslie, they won't have to kick to start the game. Iowa State won the toss and deferred, so Texas A&M elected to take the ball, and Mike McKnight will kick off. The Aggies today without Richard Whitaker, their leading rusher and leading kickoff return man. He was injured last week against Baylor with a groin injury and did not make the trip. So it's Dwayne Goins and Bethel Johnson back for the kick from McKnight. Good kick to the back of the end zone with the breeze at his back here in the first quarter, and Goins elected to down it. Spectacular day here in central Iowa with the temperature in the low 70s. And Mark Ferris will be leading this Aggie offense into the wind in the first quarter. He's a sophomore, but 25 years old, from Angleton, Texas, after a 4-year minor league baseball career in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization.
And R.C. Slocum said during that time he kept in touch. Originally signed Mark Ferris back in 1994, and he said when he decided to come here, I caught him at a bad time. He'd been on a 10-hour overnight bus ride when I called to see how he was doing.
They come out in a passing formation. They've been a much better throwing team than running team this year, and the pass is behind Greg Porter, the intended target. Let's give you the chilly starting lineups for the Texas A&M offense. Up front, their best lineman is the center, Seth McKinney, an all Big 12 conference candidate. Jamar Toombs and Joe Weber open in the backfield without Whitaker. Derek Broughton, the tight end, and excellent wide receivers. Both of these teams very deep and talented at wide receiver. Ferguson and Taylor, the starters, but they play multiple wide receiver sets throughout the game. Out in the flat, the pass caught by Dwayne Goins. Out of bounds after a short gain. They'll mark him out at the 23-yard line. Jamarcus Powers ran him out. Now the defense for Iowa State. Outstanding up front, particularly James Reed and Reggie Hayward, both all-conference caliber players. Harklaw, one of the team captains. The linebackers are Walker, a former backup quarterback, with Word and Turner. And in the secondary, Ateef Austin, Doug Densmore, Dustin Avey, a 4-year starter, and Jamarcus Powers, their best cornerback. Crowd trying to help the defense early on 3rd down and 7 out of the shotgun. Ferris's pass deflected, a flag thrown along the offensive line. Reggie Hayward brought the heat on Ferris. Cyclone celebrating. The holding call against A&M will be declined. John Bible is the referee today. John Bible, 11 years a college football official, an attorney when he's not working the gridiron. R.C. Slocum. And Cody Skates is his punter, the true freshman.
Only his second year of organized football. Skates was a standout in soccer in high school. Didn't kick till his senior year. He's a true freshman.
High punt. Man, they violated the radius. Flags thrown. Moses was not given the 2-yard space he's entitled to field the punt. His return resulted in a 38-yard punt by Skates. But it looked like it was Mike Pineset who was violating that halo, and it'll be a walk-off against A&M.
It's amazing when you're going down there, you got to start breaking down and getting your feet underneath you. It's not a hard rule. In the NFL, there's a little bit of gray area they let you work with, but not college. 2 yards is 2 yards. And for A&M, 2 penalties early. Iowa State was hurt by penalties last week against Oklahoma State, over 100 yards, and overcame those to win that game.
After the walk-off for the penalty, excellent field position for Sage Rosenfels and the Cyclone offense. Rosenfels, senior, second-year starter, completing 54% of his passes and throwing for nearly 252 yards per game. They open in a one-back set. They'll go with that primarily throughout the game. The tight end Mike Banks, the motion man. And as Haywood is the running back, and he's tackled immediately by Waylon Bradley. Haywood did not play last week in their win at Oklahoma State. He has sore ribs. The offensive line, Marcel Howard and Ben Bodette, both coming back from concussions. Ben Bruns, a veteran starter. Lorenzo White, a newcomer out of junior college. The fullback is Woodley, primarily a blocker. He'll lead the way for Haywood. Banks, an excellent tight end. Moses, the big play threat, and Anthony, the former walk-on, has developed into one of the best receivers Iowa State has had in recent years. Rosenfels going deep and overthrew his man. Looking for Craig Campbell, who was open. The pass was a little bit too long from Rosenfels with the wind at his back. Campbell got behind Sean Weston, who had the coverage for A&M.
And the one thing Steve Loney, the offensive coordinator of Iowa State, when we talked to him yesterday, said, I'm going to be interested to see how A&M plays us. They've shown so many different ways to play this year. Against Baylor, they played soft zone. Against Colorado and Notre Dame, up, press, and blitz. That time, Texas A&M brings the blitz. They have one-on-one coverage. If that ball is thrown accurately, it's a touchdown. Craig Campbell had his man beat all the way.
3rd down and 10. Again, 3 wide receivers. Rosenfels moves up under center and appears to be changing the play. And a lot of freedom to change the play at the line of scrimmage. He throws to the near side, too high. Intended for Moses. Jay Brooks had the coverage. So 3 downs and a punt for both sides on the first possessions of the game.
Maybe a little bit of nerves getting the better of Sage Rosenfels. This is the biggest game that he's played in. He came here, sat for 3 years. Bided his time, worked very hard to take over as a starting quarterback last year. This is the biggest game. He's thrown 2 balls, one to J.J. Moses high, the other one to Campbell too deep. I'm wondering if he's got a little too much adrenaline flowing through those veins.
Carl Gomez on the punt. He's a 4-year starting punter, senior out of Miami, who last week took over the place-kicking chores as well. And he took a long time to get it off and had it blocked. Blocked by Jay Brooks. And the Aggies have it inside the 5-yard line. That's the 3rd block kick of the season for Jay Brooks, the junior from Killeen, Texas. And Gomez took forever, it seemed, to get that punt off.
Sometimes, Sean, a punter gets a little comfortable back there. He thinks he reads that somebody's going to be in a return. Here's Brooks right here. It's a stunt that they run. It was actually a good job blocking, but Brooks comes through. You mentioned, Sean, that it took so long. That stunt should not be able to get there if you get that ball off on time. Gomez got caught asleep. The rest of the guys for A&M were set up to return it. The only one coming was Brooks. You said that's his 3rd this year. That's the 4th in his career for Jay Brooks. He's making a living doing that.
Jason Glenn recovered it at the 5. And they try the middle of the line, and it's Jamar Toombs driven back. No gain on the play. James Reed at the bottom of the pile, the senior from Saginaw, Michigan, your leading tackler coming in. You don't see that very often, a defensive tackle leading a team in tackles.
And the second guy on the team is Reggie Hayward, the defensive end, very active up front. Both of these guys, NFL caliber. Reed a little short at 6 foot. If he was a 6'3" guy, a lot of scouts say he'd be a first rounder.
And bunch 3 receivers wide to left. Ferris the keep and the touchdown. Mark Ferris with his first rushing touchdown of the season. And A&M capitalizes on the block punt for the game's first score.
Well, Coach Slocum talks about how people are wondering why they can't run it at A&M anymore. I guess you have your quarterback take the shotgun snap, fake a little handoff, hold the defense. A good job staying at home by the backside defensive end, Nigel Tharp, but Ferris just throws a little move for the touchdown.
It is Terrence Kitchen, sore groin, adding the extra point. Just more than 2 minutes played, and the first big play of the game made by the Aggies. Texas A&M leads 7-0.
Introducing Chili's baby back ribs. To go.
I think it's going to be about a yard short. Bring it up 4th and 1.
Get in, get out, get on with your life.
In the world we're born into, being smart doesn't necessarily make you a financial success. Neither does being pretty, neither does being talented. There are brilliant failures and there are successful zeros. Having money isn't a matter of good or bad. Having money is a matter of putting your money in a better place. Morgan Stanley Dean Witter. Move your money. Get well connected.
I like new things, especially when they get old.
Like keeping things around? Good news. Introducing Valvoline Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines. Max Life conditions use seals to help prevent leaks and helps keep your high mileage engine performing for a long, long time.
Son, another 100,000 miles and this baby will be yours.
Your turn.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. Chili's baby back. Ribs. Barbecue sauce.
Its ancestors knew the grit of the sand at Daytona, where a mile measured the length of your nerve. It is not meek. It is not humble. It is what happens when you take the soul of the past and meld it with the best of the new. Chrysler 300M, the most powerful V6 sports sedan in its class. Now lease the Chrysler 300M for $399 a month.
Rogers gets away. Look at that. And he is gone.
Undefeated Nebraska faces undefeated Oklahoma next Saturday at noon Eastern on ABC.
Also a special thanks to Caleb R.C. Slocum and the Aggies of Texas A&M off to a 7-0 lead. Just more than 2 minutes played. Block punt led to a touchdown run by Mark Farris, and now Cody Skates will kick off. Injury the breeze up. Sammy Davis comes in to hold the ball for him. They need to get on that ball quickly, and J.J. Moses does. Goes up the hash marks and is taken down from behind at the 26-yard line. Scott Stakane, the 12th man, part of that tradition on the kickoff unit for Texas A&M. Redshirt freshman from Trophy Club, Texas. Showed why he's out there as he made the tackle.
Carrying the tradition of the 12th man, tradition they started back in the mid-'80s, and they've kept it going by giving out the number 12 to a walk-on who is kind of the honorary 12th man. Change it every week.
Three wide receivers, Haywood the lone back, and a flag stops the play.
Come on, guys, get in the game.
Before the snap, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Sage Rosenfels is not exactly the fastest quarterback in the Big 12, but they do a couple of things with the option to try to keep the defense honest. He was trying to run that option there out of the shotgun formation.
Sage is a senior from Maquoketa, Iowa, the eastern part of the state, not far from the Mississippi River. We asked him how he pronounces the name of his hometown. He said you say Maquoketa or Maquoketa. Either one will do.
I'm going to let you pronounce it all day. Okay?
I'm going to do the last time today. It's a very nice place. He's proud to be from that town. On the draw, and it's Haywood. Across midfield. And the Aggies, Terrence Keel ran him out of bounds at the 42-yard line of Texas A&M. 37 yards on the run for Haywood, a junior from Dallas, Texas, who's been waiting in the wings behind Darren Davis here at Iowa State for playing time the last couple of years.
Very big offensive line for Iowa State. Mike Hankowitz, a defensive coordinator from A&M, very worried about his defensive front in the size matchup. A couple 300-pounders there in the middle. And that time, a good job of just holding up their guys. They didn't create a huge hole, but on the draw, enough of the seam. Haywood, good vision to find it.
Haywood leads the Big 12, averaging 128 yards per game rushing. Rosenfels keeps and nearly had a big gainer. He was just tripped up as he crossed the 40, and they'll mark him down at the 37-yard line. A gain of 6 for Rosenfels. It was a capable runner, averages 4 yards per carry. Here's the Texas A&M defensive starters: Ty Warren, Ron Edwards, and Ronald Flemings up front. They play with 4 linebackers: Bradley Anthony Gamble, the team leading tackler, and Jason Glenn. And in the secondary, Weston Keel, Jamison, and Davis. And you see a lot of Jay Brooks.
Iowa State has already seen enough of Jay Brooks for the day, I think, after that blocked punt.
2 tight ends into the game now for the Cyclones. And on the blitz, Michael Jamison, the safety, knocked down Haywood for a gain of 1. Let's check in with John Saunders at Times Square Stadium.
Sean, what a finish in Madison. Purdue against Wisconsin in overtime. Vitaly Pasetsky sets up for a 58-yard field goal. It's blocked by Craig Terrell, picked up by Ashante Woodyard, and he takes it 36 yards for the touchdown and the win in overtime. Sean.
All right, John. To me, Wisconsin is the most disappointing team in the country this year.
We had them earlier against Oregon. They were very lucky to win that game. Very talented. They haven't lived up to it.
On 3rd and short, Haywood nearly escaped, but is thrown for a loss back to the 42-yard line. Ty Warren got upfield. Jason Glenn came to his aid. And the Wrecking Crew defense steps up.
Boy, are they glad to have Ty Warren back. He sprained his ankle in camp. They couldn't afford to lose another defensive lineman. A good job getting up the field. They'd already lost Rocky Bernard, their best returning lineman, to a blown-out knee in camp. Ty Warren, this is his 3rd start in a row, finally healthy, making some big plays.
Gomez, who had a punt blocked a moment ago, will try again. Chris Taylor back deep. With the breeze, they can't quite down the punt inside the 5-yard line. Doug Densmore, an outstanding special teams player with a great effort, but that ball simply bounced too high for him to down it. 40-yard punt, but just a net of 20, so not a great start for Gomez, the punter. Let's take a look at the Dell Game Solutions.
For Texas A&M, I'll get that out before long. The running game, they don't have to be great at it, but just try to get it established. Take some pressure off Mark Ferris so they can have some play action fakes. Make Iowa State pay. If the blitz comes, if Iowa State brings it, beat the one-on-one matchups outside. And for Iowa State on defense, try not to blitz very much. Ferguson very good as a wide receiver. Try to get pressure up front with just your front 4.
On 1st down, a power run by Jamar Toombs. He's played fullback and tailback at A&M. This year, primarily a short yardage runner. He's averaging under 2 yards per carry, but has 8 touchdowns. They go to him in close. But without Whitaker today, we might see more of the primary ball-carrying role. William Judd made the tackle.
Toombs had a great end of the year last year, 297 yards in the last couple of ball games, a big game against Texas, and that upset win. So he's used to being the main guy if they need him to be with Whitaker down.
Harris handed it off that time to Joe Weber. Almost collided with Weber on the handoff, but got it to him, and he got a 1st down out to the 35-yard line, where Derek Walker and Atif Austin made the tackle. That's a gain of 7.
And that's where you see Jamar Toombs and the changes that he's had to make. He was an I-back, and now he has to play the B or fullback for Texas A&M, and that time gets a great block in the hole to spring Joe Weber. And Steve Cragthorpe, the offensive coordinator, said this guy has really worked hard at becoming a fullback, running, catching, and blocking. He can do it all now.
He needed to improve his blocking skills. That's the biggest area of improvement. He's leading the way for Weber. Another quality gain. Weber put his head down and ran over Dustin Avey at the end of the play. Chris Whitaker also in on the stop. But that's a gain of 9 for Weber, the sophomore from San Bernardino, California. Was born in Louisiana, moved to California in 1995.
And he's the bruiser of the two guys. Richard Whitaker and him basically share the starting responsibilities for R.C. Slocum, but Weber at 228 pounds, he was the pounder, and Whitaker at 197. So now with Toombs, you got 2 pounders back there.
R.C. Slocum trying to get the running game going. Steady diet of runs on this possession. And it's working well. Toombs powered for the first down into Iowa State territory at the 47-yard line. 9 more on the run for Toombs.
Wow, watch the linebacker right here, Chris Whitaker. A great block by the guard, and then you have number 41, Ab Turner, come up and just get run over by Jamar Toombs. That's good power running, but it was a good block on both of those middle linebackers. One good block, and then one guy is free, and Toombs took over him with 275 pounds.
And there's Chris Boletta, number 71, who delivered that good block Ed was talking about. This time no gain on the run. On 1st and 10, Toombs was stuffed by James Reed. The 5-1 Dolphins battle the 5-1 Jets on Monday Night Football, live at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. And at halftime of the game, the first long-awaited Bowl Championship Series rankings will be announced right here on ABC.
I'm going to hold my breath until then.
It seems safe Nebraska will be number 1. After that, it'll be interesting. Ferris on the roll, has a man. Close to a first down. The catch made by Bethel Johnson. He was hit by Mark Timmons, a reserve defensive back, redshirt freshman from Bradenton, Florida.
And with Mark Ferris being such a good athlete, it allows you to do so many different things. This time on the roll, the outside receiver was covered, a good job, and that's Bethel Johnson just sitting down in the zone, waiting for the quarterback to get over there. But Ferris, a very active quarterback with his feet, a great baseball player, a first rounder, the Pirates out of high school. When A&M originally signed him, they didn't expect him, as Ateef Austin has helped off the field, starting cornerback for Iowa State. They didn't expect him to play baseball, but he had such a great senior year, he ended up being drafted in the first round.
Kept in touch with Coach Slocum and vice versa through the years that he was in the Pirates organization, made it as high as AA, and really started in this football. 3rd down and 1. Ateef Austin limped off for Iowa State. Toombs bangs for what appears to be a first down. If they give him the 37-yard line, it will be a first down. And it is 1st and 10 for Texas A&M, leading 7-0, more than midway through the first quarter.
James Reed, defensive tackle right here, does a really nice job of getting up into the line of scrimmage, and Michael Mahan, the right tackle, very lucky that he did not get called for the holding, because Reed had position. Mahan got his left arm under there, would have made the tackle if Mahan wouldn't have grabbed it, and I'm surprised that the referee behind the play did not throw the flag.
Big play of the possession for Texas A&M, and it's Bethel Johnson on the receiving end. A nice move to avoid one tackler. And out of bounds he goes at the 31, chased out by Derek Walker, a senior from Houston, Texas, who was the backup quarterback last year. They moved Walker to linebacker in spring practice.
Walker, a guy who was followed Michael Bishop at Glenn Junior College as a quarterback. There was actually a little bit of a quarterback controversy last year here between Derek Walker and Sage Rosenfels. Rosenfels didn't really clearly beat him out until about the 5th game of last season.
7 and 4. Wayne joins the motion man. They hand it off to Toombs, and he's down about a half-yard short of the first down, it appears, in the arms of Reggie Hayward. Hayward, their best defensive player, according to the defensive coordinator, John Skladany. He was honorable mention all Big 12 last year. Senior from Dolton, Illinois, just outside Chicago. Same hometown as Donovan McNabb, now in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles. They played junior football against each other.
And one of those guys that a lot of people around here thought should have been a preseason all Big 12. They thought that was a slight.
Toombs on 3rd and 1. Seems to have the first down. Got near the 26 before he was driven back. Well, they want to get the running game going, and they're doing it with the occasional pass mixed in.
Yeah, this is the old Texas A&M. We heard a rumor that they like to throw it around. Go back a couple of years. This is what Texas A&M looked like 2 or 3 years ago. Mark Ferris, most of the coaches around here feel is the best quarterback they've had in about 15 years. He's got a very quick release, very accurate, close to 62%. Right now, Steve Kragthorpe doing a nice job of mixing the run and the pass with the power of Jamar Toombs.
8 runs on the drive, just 2 passes. They stick with the run with Weber. He bounces off one tackle, then paid the price as Derek Walker certainly didn't hit him like a guy who used to be a quarterback. James Reed was also in on the play.
Here's a guy who has played quarterback for the last 6 years. Where did he learn to hit like this, Sean? I can't figure it out. A good job of bouncing it out, but there is Derek Walker driving right through it. He only came to the linebacking side of the ball last spring, so he hasn't been playing it very long.
Confusion on the Iowa State side. They have too many men on the field. They're trying to call a timeout, and they get it. The 2nd and 9 upcoming. They were confused about which personnel group was supposed to be on the field. 7-0 Aggies, and they're driving here in the first quarter.
Not so good.
Yeehaw.
E-Business Solutions. Judging from the number of e-businesses going out of business, most haven't solved anything. At Dell, we design our servers, storage, and services to make it easier to get results. They help us generate $15 billion a year in e-commerce alone. Now that's what we call solutions. What about you? To find out more, visit Dell.com. Yep, it's that easy.
Dell E-Business servers use Intel Pentium 3 Xeon processors.
Its ancestors knew the grit of the sand at Daytona, where a mile measured the length of your nerve. It is not meek. It is not humble. It is what happens when you take the soul of the past and meld it with the best of the new. Chrysler 300M, the most powerful V6 sports sedan in its class. Now lease the Chrysler 300M for $399 a month.
Back in Ames, Iowa, Texas A&M leads 7-0. And the Aggies are driving, winning it 2nd down and 9 from the Iowa State 26. Quarterback draw to the shotgun. And Ferris is close to the first down. Looks like he has it at the 15. He scored the touchdown after the block punt on a similar play. 1st and 10. Aggies, an impressive drive for Texas A&M.
Looks like Texas A&M has been getting some Clemson film. That's about the type of play that Clemson likes to run with Woody Dantzler. Shotgun snap, R.C. Slocum. You wouldn't, about 5 years ago, if you'd have said he was running this type of offense, you would have thought I was crazy to say it. And he kind of feels that way as well, but the way they're moving it around, he's not complaining.
Back in the eye with Weber lined up behind Toombs. And Weber for a short gain to the 13-yard line where Derek Walker made the tackle again. We're at Jack Trice Stadium in Ames, Iowa. The Iowa State Cyclones, for an overflow crowd, playing host to the Texas A&M Aggies. Sean McDonough, Ed Cunningham, Leslie Goodell, delighted to have you with us. Important game for both teams with an eye toward the possible bowl bid. Toombs, the lone back, got the call and got 2 or 3 more to the 10-yard line. Ryan Harklaw, one of the team co-captains at the bottom of the pile with Reggie Hayward. Harklaw is a senior from Humboldt, Iowa. He told us yesterday it's a northwest Iowa town of about 5,000. Every player knew exactly how long it was to get to the campus. And I'm about an hour and 15 minutes from here.
Down to the minute. I mean, it wasn't like they were guessing an hour and a half, hour and 45. They knew exactly, because they've made those trips, and they said that's what you do when you're driving through Iowa. You look at the clock to see how long it takes to get home.
Ferris throws, nearly intercepted. Some confusion on the pattern. Chris Taylor and Greg Porter both in the area. Justin Eilers and Jamarcus Powers in coverage. And the field goal unit comes on for Texas A&M, and because it is a relatively short attempt, again, it will be Terrence Kitchens, who, as Leslie reported at the beginning of the game, is bothered by a sore groin and probably can't try a long field goal. This is a 27-yard attempt out of the hold of Wes Bodovich, a former quarterback. Chance Pierce is the snapper. And he chips that one up and through. 3:08 remaining in the first quarter. It's now 10-0 Texas A&M.
Travis? We're here for a toaster.
Big on taste but low on cash? Check out the new 99-cent BK Kravis menu at Burger King. 8 tasty choices at an incredible price, like the Slammin' Bullseye Barbecue Deluxe or some tasty mozzarella sticks. Just 99 cents every day at Burger King, where you can get great tasting food every day.
Good morning, everybody. This is your captain speaking. We'll soon be cruising at 3,000 feet, nonstop to Tampa. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. It's not 3,000 feet we'll be cruising at, but 30,000. Sorry for the mix-up. Captain again. Did I mention that we're not going to Chicago? Well, we are going to Chicago. Captain again.
First of all, I'm not denying that I used cellular. It was a very experimental time. Someone passed it to me, I put it to my ear, but I did not talk, I only listened. Even then, all I heard was static. But I have been free and clear ever since. I even chose long distance so I could reach out to young people across the nation and warn them of even casual cellular use.
The new Sprint PCS Free and Clear plan, $29.99 for 500 minutes, all with nationwide long distance.
She said she married him for love. Now she's fighting with his family over billions. Someone is about to get what's coming to them. 2020 Downtown, Monday.
On this sparkling October afternoon in central Iowa, Texas A&M leads 10-0. A 16-play drive ended in a field goal. Odie Skates will kick off. He played only one season of football in high school as a soccer player. Short kickoff into the wind taken by Jermaine Billups. The true freshman weaving his way out to the 27-yard line. 12-yard return for Billups. College football on ABC Sports is brought to you by Jeep Grand Cherokee with legendary off-road capability. By Budweiser with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. By Chili's, I want my Chili's baby back ribs only at Chili's. And by Dell, providing the infrastructure to power your e-business. Michael Wagner at the running back position now. And he takes the handoff from Rosenfeld. He was the primary back last week when Haywood could not go due to the sore ribs. And Wagner, the redshirt freshman, responded with 170 yards rushing. Record for ISU. He scored 2 touchdowns running and caught a touchdown pass in their win over the Cowboys in Stillwater.
And he's nice. He's a nice compliment to Haywood. Haywood's more of a straight-ahead, slashing kind of guy. Wagner a little smaller, 5'7", 182 pounds, a lot smaller. He's more of a shift guy, so now they have a good complement in their backfield.
And here comes Wagner again. A late flag thrown in the backfield by the referee, John Bible. Wagner got to the 35, 2 yards short of a first down, where Terrence Keel made the tackle.
Believe they're going to get Andy Stensrud for a hold on Brian Gamble in the backfield, the inside linebacker, leading tackler for A&M. Got good penetration, and it looked like Stensrud had to put a little tackle move on him.
Holding on the offense, 10-yard penalty, remains second down.
Stensrud, a guy who's been a tight end his entire career. Because of the situation at tight end, Mike Banks, a sensational tight end. He was relegated as a backup. The coach has said, hey, you can continue to play in our 2 tight end set, but if you want to go and try to play every down as a tackler, you're welcome to go fight. His first day at tackle was August 10th. He came into camp and won the starting job. Very impressive job by Andy Stensrud.
He's an excellent athlete. Came here as a basketball recruit. Rosenfeld started to pull away from center early. There's also a little movement along the defensive front.
Start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
The Cyclones have it in reverse now with 2:04 left in the quarter.
And the one thing that Dan McCarney talked to us about the other day was mistakes. They got away with them against Oklahoma State because they made some big plays at the end of the game, forced 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter. Well, against Texas A&M, who looks like they finally have their running game going, they're not going to get away with those mistakes today.
2nd and 24. On the draw. Wagner out to the 20-yard line. Royland Brown made the stop, and we check in again with John Times Square Stadium.
Sean, it's time for the Burger King update. Virginia against Florida State. Bryson Spinner, the snap goes over his head for the freshman quarterback. It's recovered by Tommy Pauly of Florida State. He takes it down to about the 1-yard line, sets up William McCray for the touchdown. They've also added a field goal, 10-0. Sean.
All right, John, thank you. Dan Ellis, the starting quarterback, injured and not playing for Virginia. Already a tough task for the Cavaliers with Ellis. 3rd and 17. Rosenfeld stepped up, found his man, Chris Anthony, but well short of the first down. At the 32-yard line, about 5 yards short of the first down, Michael Jamison made the tackle. Well, nothing doing in the first quarter for this high-powered Cyclone offense. And another punt for Gomez, his 3rd.
What a nice job by Rosenfels. Good pressure by A&M, made him flush out of the pocket, but Rosenfels very hard to sack. He's only been sacked twice so far this season.
2 men back for this punt. Chris Taylor and Mickey Jones. Gomez had trouble with the snap again, and Brooks got close to him. Then Gomez boomed one up into the breeze. Fielded by Jones. And a short return to the 25-yard line and a late flag thrown in. A 48-yard punt by Gomez. Although it was a struggle to get it off. The snaps in his defense have been a little shaky here in the first quarter.
That one was tough to grab. This is definitely going to be an illegal block in the back. I believe it was Mike Pineset that they got down around the return.
And he says, what about the halo? He thought they were within the 2 yards when the receiving man caught the punt. But that was close.
Illegal block in the back on the return team. Half the distance to the goal line, first down.
And that's the tough part about the argument is, why did it happen? But it looked to me, Sean, like there was clearly a block in the back. And the guy from Iowa State was just running in pursuit when he got nailed. Right here at the bottom of your screen, that Sloth going down there. Very close whether he was inside 2 yards there, Sean. You're correct, but no question on the call. That 2-yard halo could have been broken, but there was no question the block in the back happened.
Perhaps the final play of the first quarter. From the 9-yard line, Joe Weber carried out to the 11, perhaps the 12. And that will bring us to the end of the first quarter. Just 1 first down in the first quarter for Iowa State. Texas A&M took advantage of an early block punt. And the Aggies lead 10-0. Iowa. Texas A&M leads 10-0. After 1 quarter, block punt led to a short touchdown run by the quarterback Mark Ferris, and a long drive ended in a short field goal by Terrence Kitchens. First play of the second quarter is 2nd down and 7. Ferris faked it to Weber and threw it to Porter, and Greg Porter has a first down. Out to the 22-yard line. Porter's a sophomore from Keller, Texas. Like Ferris, a talented baseball player. Greg is on the A&M baseball team.
And he's fought his way into the lineup. A good job. They bring him over as the tight end on the motion. But incredible hands. Everybody on the team says he has the best hands. He just kept going out to practice and making tough catch after tough catch, and they finally had to put him into the lineup. A big guy, 6'4", 228 pounds. He's basically a tight end lined up in the slot position.
328 as the DH as a freshman to help bring him to the College World Series, not far from here in Omaha. On first down, Weber ran into Ab Turner. Well, let's check in on the sideline with Leslie Goodell.
Sean, after a PAT and a field goal, Terrence Kitchens says he feels pretty good. The strained groin isn't bothering him as much. It was hurting a lot when he came out today. But right after A&M blocked that punt, he got in some warm-ups, loosened it up a bit, says it's a little sore, but he feels pretty good right now.
Well, making a couple will make you feel better.
Yes, it will. That pain will go away quickly. For a soccer-style kicker, that groin is a slightly important muscle.
Second down and 8. 5 receivers sprinkle the formation. Bears have a lot of time to throw. Throwing deep. Has his man, Dwayne Goins. Perhaps the fastest man on the team. They won't catch him. Touchdown, 76 yards.
76 yards for Mark Harris.
Well, Dwayne Goins wanted to join the party with the rest of his receiving mates. Robert Ferguson and Chris Taylor make habits out of big plays. This time, he gets lost in the zone. They flood the left side of the field. There are 4 receivers for Texas A&M on that side, and Iowa State got confused in their coverage. And you don't want to let this guy go, Sean. He's the fastest guy out on that field. Now he gets a big play.
Extra point up and good from Terrence Kitchens. And this big crowd silenced by a 17-0 Texas A&M lead. About for the Aggies, they're off to a 17-0 lead early in the second quarter. Cody Skates with the wind at his back this time, trying to drive it upright. And it'll be a touchback. College football on ABC Sports is brought to you by the Grand Dam with solid form designed by Pontiac. By Tostitos, dig in, kick back, stay all season. By Valvoline MaxLife, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines. And by Courtyard by Marriott, the hotel designed by business travelers.
Time for Iowa State to get going. 60 total yards so far into the second quarter. 36 of those were on one run by Haywood. This is the 12th best offense in the NCAA, averaging close to 450 yards per game.
Rosenfels was pressured on the rollout, and the pass yields nothing. He found Kyle Knock, the backup tight end, but Terrence Keel found Knock very quickly and knocked him down after a gain of perhaps a half yard. Kyle Knock's a sophomore from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. His father, Don, is a graduate assistant coach here at Iowa State. He was a longtime high school coach, and in fact coached Kyle at Cedar Rapids Kennedy. He has joined his son here in the Iowa State football program. They stay with 2 tight ends. Knock remains in the game. Second down and 9. Rosenfels a little high, and the pass is caught short of a first down. Nice catch by Chris Anthony. Sean Weston forced him out of bounds. Anthony had to catch a high ball and stay in bounds, and did both very well.
And Anthony, although he's having a little off year this year, only his 19th reception. That moves him into sole possession of 5th place on Iowa State's all-time career receptions. A really nice job of getting that down. Weston over there. In college football, unlike the NFL, it doesn't matter if you get knocked out of bounds. You still have to get that 1 foot down whether you're pushed or not.
Anthony's numbers down a little bit this year. They just haven't thrown to him quite as often. They throw to him again for a first down.
Pass completion to Chris Anthony.
That's the second first down of the game for Iowa State. Out to the 34-yard line. Anthony came as a walk-on. Now a senior from Bettendorf, Iowa. As Steve Loney, the offensive coordinator, suggested, he is the typical possession guy.
Game will go along. All of a sudden you look up and you didn't think he touched the ball, and he has 4 catches before it's over. The reason he's down a little bit is because the emergence of J.J. Moses.
He comes in motion. They fake the reverse handoff to him, and they give it to Ennis Haywood running straight ahead and straight into the arms of Jason Glenn. The senior from Houston, Texas, the younger brother of former All-American defensive back Aaron Glenn, is now a standout in the NFL with the New York Jets. You can see Aaron Glenn on Monday Night Football against the Dolphins right here on ABC at 9 Monday night.
And that play where they fake the reverse is to try to see if that backside outside linebacker Jason Glenn is going to stay home. He didn't. So watch for Steve Loney to pick that up and go ahead and run that instead of fake it in the reverse to Moses.
And 2nd and 9 out of the shotgun. Rosenfels throwing a deep ball, and it is incomplete. Intended for Craig Campbell, but broken up at the 42-yard line of Texas A&M by Sean Weston.
And Weston's a guy that defensive coordinator Mike Hankwitz says every team for some reason wants to take shots. He's not a big guy at 5'9", 170. He's a freshman. But he said every team who was taking shots on him, this guy stood up that time, makes a great play with his right hand. He was almost able to secure the interception with his left one. This guy stood up to every team's test that time, and he passes that test.
3rd down and 9. Rosenfels really has not been very sharp to this point. A little bit off with his throws. He's in trouble here. Threw off his back foot and was lucky that one didn't get intercepted. He was looking for Mike Banks, the tight end, but he was surrounded by 2 Aggies. And Ron Edwards, the nose man, put the heat on, forcing the errant throw by Rosenfels.
Good pressure by Texas A&M. They're able to get some pressure up front with their defensive line early. That's good news for Texas A&M on defense. Again, they don't really have an identity. They'll play some soft zone. They'll play some man. Right now, they're able to get pressure with just their 4 defensive linemen. And that's really good news because now you can back off and start to drop more people into coverage.
Gomez now has to punt into the wind. And Chris Taylor makes the fair catch at the 32-yard line. 34-yard punt by Gomez. And Saturday, ABC Sports has a great college football.
Yes, rankings coming out Monday night. That one will go a long way in determining who sits atop the rankings at the end of the season. Kind of like Oklahoma in that one, Sean.
Ferris threw under duress, and it is caught by Robert Ferguson, their leading receiver. Great throw by Ferris. He had to throw it while backing up and found the open Ferguson right on the numbers for a 35-yard gain to the 33-yard line.
You know, you watch this guy, Mark Ferris, and it's hard to believe that he really was fighting for the starting job all the way through. You mentioned that he was getting hit right in the face as he threw this ball, and you just don't throw a better fade ball. The receiver did not have to throw down, and Ferguson very fast with sub 4.5 speed. That's a tough throw to make off your back foot. Mark Ferris showing a great arm.
He's 6 for 9 for 139 yards passing. Breaking tackles, Joe Weber. And he's close to another first down.
Well, A&M has plenty of big play wide receivers. Taylor, Ferguson, Johnson. 96-yarder by Taylor is an A&M record. The 93-yarder by Ferguson is second to Taylor's 94 yards. And Bethel Johnson, and then we see Dwayne Goins get into the act. Hey, he said, these guys, I want to make that a 4-headed graphic, and got in with that 76-yard touchdown.
1st and 10 Aggies. Threatening to blow it open here in the first half. A big surprise. Ferris throws another bullet. Bethel Johnson the catch. He spun back, but it looks like they're going to give him forward progress to the 12-yard line. And it's very close to a first down.
And Bethel Johnson, excuse me, Sean, Bethel Johnson is such a good complement to Robert Ferguson. Both of them are good size, 5'11", 188 for Bethel Johnson, but usually when you have a guy like Robert Ferguson, he is so good, you can rotate a safety over to cover him. But with Bethel Johnson either lined up next to him on the other side, you pick your poison with those two guys.
Well, a matchup of 2 winning teams here, both eyeing a bowl bid, but there were questions about both teams based on the schedule that they've played to date. R.C. Slocum's club 4-2. The losses to Notre Dame and Colorado. They really don't have a very impressive win. Wyoming, Texas El Paso, Texas Tech, and Baylor were 4 victims. So this looked to be one of the stiffest tests of the season for each team so far. Ferris kept it, and Reggie Hayward took him down on 1st and 10 after a gain of 2 to the 10-yard line.
Well, we've already talked about Hayward and his physical prowess, but John Skladany, the defensive coordinator, says he is one of the smartest football players I've ever been around. That time, a nice job. There's a look at Skladany, a former defensive lineman who lost 65 pounds, tall, slender guy now. Played for the Patriots and the Redskins. I should have teased him a little bit and said, hey, I got you by 15.
You lost 15 more pounds than 60, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I lost close to 80.
Wow.
Harris forced to pitch it. Good catch made by Weber, and he spun down to the 6-yard line, about 4 yards shy of the first down. Matt Word and Mark Timmons combined to take down Weber. He took down toward 10 minutes remaining in the first half. Texas A&M leading 17-0. We mentioned how big this could be for Iowa State, but also for A&M. Ed, when you look at the schedule that they have ahead, after today they have Kansas State coming to College Station, then they're at Oklahoma State. They have Oklahoma at home and at Texas. They'll probably be the underdog in 3 of those 4 games.
This is huge because that game they'll have to win to become bowl eligible.
As caught in the flat but short of the first down. It was Robert Ferguson taken down by Ryan Sloth. A nice tackle made in the open field by the senior Sloth, another former walk-on. He's an excellent student here. 2 times first team academic all Big 12 as a sports management major.
Dan McCarney's defense stood up a little bit down there in the red zone. However, it's been mistakes with his offense. Only 75 yards of offense with 9:20 remaining in the second quarter. This defense has been on the field a ton for Iowa State.
This will be a 22-yard try for Kitchens, who hasn't missed anything yet. He might try to strain his other groin the way he's kicking with a strained groin today. 22-yard field goal is good. The only negative for the Aggies, a couple of long drives have bogged down and ended in field goals. Now 20-0, Texas A&M. After a 64-yard drive yielded a 22-yard field goal by Terrence Kitchen. Time now for our Courtyard by Marriott moment. The last time Iowa State went to a bowl game was in 1978, the Hall of Fame Bowl in Birmingham, Alabama, against, coincidentally, Texas A&M. Dexter Green scored 2 touchdowns, including this one on a 28-yard run. The Aggies beat the Cyclones 28-12, and as we mentioned earlier, never lost to the Cyclones. 4-0, now fellow members of the Big 12 Conference.
Not only does Iowa State want to get into a bowl, but they're 0-4. This school is 0-4 lifetime in bowl games. They'd like to get a win.
Rosenfels throws a quick pass to Craig Campbell, but closing quickly was Sammy Davis, nicknamed the Candy Man for obvious reasons. The name he shares with the entertainer Sammy Davis, but also because he sticks to those defenders like candy.
And his father's name is Samuel, so I'm wondering if he is technically a junior, because that would be just too perfect for him to be Sammy Davis Jr.
Second down and 6. Producer Bruce Clark suggests that Sammy could make the sunshine today for Texas A&M. This defense certainly has. Haywood on the run, knocked down at the 29, 1 yard short of a first down. Tripped up by Harold Robertson, a reserve linebacker, getting some playing time here in the second quarter. He's a junior from Dallas, Texas, out of Lincoln High School. He's been bothered by a lot of injuries the last 2 years that have deprived him of some playing time.
In there on a rare running down. He's usually their nickel linebacker, one of their best coverage guys.
3rd and 1 for a much-needed first down for Iowa State. 10 first downs for Texas A&M, 2 for Iowa State to this point. And if he got it, Haywood just did get it. Looks like they're going to spot it right on the 30-yard line, and will give him a first down.
Nice job by the Texas A&M linebackers anticipating where that ball was going. I don't know if they were getting a read or not, but they went right to where the hole seemed to be wanting to be opened up by the Iowa State offensive line.
I guess if you're Dan McCarney, one of the good things about the fact that your program has lost so many games over the years, you have a lot of experience in this situation, playing from way behind.
And that's really been a difference this year for Iowa State, though. They've been behind a few times, and in years past they would have lost. Oklahoma State, they trailed late in that game and were able to pull it out.
Haywood, a short gain. He got 1. Well, let's take a look at the Dell Game Solutions when Iowa State has the ball.
We usually try to get these things in during the first quarter, but all the action has slowed us down. Iowa State on offense, Sage Wisdom. We've already seen Sage how he can check out of plays, get you into good ones. Continue protection, and I don't just mean protecting the quarterback, but also Iowa State does a tremendous job. Only 2 lost fumbles all year for Texas A&M on defense. If you're going to run disguise coverages, be very good at it, because Sage can pick you apart once you start backing out and showing what you're doing.
So Rosenfels is changing the play again. Play clock down to 3. Change to a run. And it yields very little. Haywood out to the 33-yard line. Well, on this possession, you have to admire the patience of Iowa State. Sometimes it's easy to panic when you get down by 20 points this early, but there's a long way to go, and they're sticking with the running game here.
Well, the one thing they have been this year is very balanced, averaging close to 200 yards rushing per game, over close to 250 yards passing. So that's how they try to set things up. You mentioned they're going to be in one back a lot, get those guys out of the box. They have to stick with their game plan. It's too early to scrap that.
6 minutes left, first half. 20-0, Texas A&M. 3rd down and 7 and 3 wide receivers for Iowa State. Rosenfels wants a timeout.
Fans, here's your chance to win $96 in cash from Clear 96.
20-0. Big lead here in the first half for Texas A&M. Out of the timeout for the Cyclones. 3rd down and 7. 4 receivers now, and Haywood alone back with Rosenfels out of the shotgun. Has time, throws it short. Haywood has a lot of running to do. Broke through 2 would-be tacklers, but was stopped 2 yards short of a first down by Terrence Keel, who's having a big first half at safety for Texas A&M. The sophomore from Lufkin, Texas, cousin of Rodney Thomas, number 4 all-time rusher at A&M, now with the Tennessee Titans.
And the Aggie defensive backfield struggled earlier near Michael Jamison, the senior free safety, missed a couple of games with a bad ankle, and they got torched a few times. Right now, they're doing a sensational job. There was nowhere for Rosenfels to go on that play down the field.
Gomez has to punt into the wind again, and Brooks was right in his face as he got that punt off. Good punt into the breeze, and the fair catch made by Chris Taylor at the 22-yard line. A 41-yard punt and no return.
The one thing Gomez had to work coming from Miami, Florida, was this wind out here in Iowa. He's really worked on his technique. That time did a nice job keeping it under the wind.
Coming up on Valvoline Halftime 2000, John Saunders and Terry Bowden. The handoff goes to Joe Weber. Out to the 26. Dustin Avey made the tackle. Avey's a hometown boy, senior. Grew up right here in Ames, Iowa. Went to Ames High School. 4-year starter 3 times. Academic All Big 12 as a finance major. He was a state champion in the 400-meter hurdles in high school.
And his nickname is the Mayor of Ames. That's pretty easy to figure out.
2nd down. Ferris on the rollout going deep and just a little bit too long for Ferguson, who might have been off to the races. Tyrone Tucker put the heat on Ferris.
Tyrone Tucker, one of those guys they get out of Miami, Florida because of the Davis brothers. Troy and Darren came out of Miami, so a lot of people learned about Iowa State there. He gets a shot on Ferris, but Sean, we've seen it twice now where Ferris has thrown a good deep ball. That one he actually overthrew, falling back and having a 236-pound linebacker hit him right in the face.
That was his problem last week. Even though he threw for 311 yards, he said it was probably his worst passing day of the season as he overthrew a number of open receivers. 3rd down and 6. 305 yards of total offense for the Aggies in this half, and an excellent tackle by Reggie Haywood prevented a first down. Looked like Weber was going to rumble for the first down and more, but Haywood got him around the legs from behind to force a punt.
And here's a guy who's flirted with being all Big 12. He was honorable mention in 98, 99, right down here. What a great job coming inside the block of the left tackle, McCauley. Very quick. Got the big arms, and he's very active with his hands. That inside swim technique, very tough to block as an offensive lineman when you're going on the run block.
Skates, high school All-American punter last year. Punt for the 2nd time today. J.J. Moses made the first man miss and returned it 4 yards to the 34. Mike Pine said, who's been very active on special teams, made the tackle. 40-yard punt by Skates. Dan McCarney, we mentioned all that is up for grabs here today. We'll talk more about that header we have at 3:30 Eastern. Many of you will see A&M back in action, taking on number 8 Kansas State in Florida State or Washington State, Oregon State. Michael Wagner dropped for a loss by Jason Glenn, the senior from Houston, making another big play. He is their big playmaker on defense.
And Glenn was the guy that Steve Loney, the offensive coordinator, talked about that they needed to get a body on. He's very active when he plays against air. In other words, when he's able to come off the end, coming off air and having nobody in his face, he's very dangerous. And that time, Iowa State was hoping that he would run himself up out of the play. Very active, a former safety, comes back inside, makes the tackle.
And it's Haywood, the lone back. They run the option. They pitch it to Haywood. He gets a nice block from J.J. Moses. And Haywood's down short of the first down by about a yard. Down at the 43-yard line. Terrence Keel and Sammy Davis made the tackle. Gain of 12. Nebraska hammered Baylor. Baylor shut out again. I believe that's the third time this year the Bears have been blanked. They were shut out by A&M 24-0 last week in Waco.
And now Iowa State has another one of them short third downs. Struggling today. This is hopefully going to be only their fourth first down for them. They've really struggled on these third and shorts.
Franklin's have just one timeout left. And the 2:13 left in the half. Talking the screen just a little bit off. Rosenfels throws too high. Looking for Kyle Knock. Incomplete. On third down and 1, the rollout pass does not work. The fans starting to boo. These people. They sat through the decade of the 90s when they saw just 27 wins from this program. Now they're 5-1 and they're demanding excellence at all times.
But you mentioned earlier, Rosenfels is just not on his game. Usually a very accurate passer. That time, wide open to the tight end Knock. He just missed him.
Gomez punts. Fair catch signaled for and made at the 28-yard line by Chris Taylor. And a flag thrown late.
29-yard punt for Gomez.
Flown when Doug Densmore got close to Taylor.
Interference with the opportunity to catch the kick on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Back indicated against Iowa State.
I don't know about that one.
Right here's where Densmore is lined up.
Well, he's too close.
Yeah, and that's the rule, Sean. I mean, it just says that it's within 2 yards. It doesn't matter if you're running to make the tackle, if you're breaking down. And no question, he was inside 2 yards there.
The 5-yard walk-off. The Aggies getting greedy. Ferris, another beautiful deep ball dropped by Dwayne Goins. That was a touchdown for A&M, but he dropped it. Atif Austin beaten in coverage. My goodness.
Well, Jamison shows why he is the fastest guy out there. That time he runs right by Atif Austin. And that's got to be very frustrating. Ferris, who was hard on himself about the bad throws he had on the deep balls last week against Baylor, could not have flown over in a helicopter and dropped that into Goins' lap any better.
He's been victimized by some drops. There was a big drop in the Notre Dame game, first game of the year. And they were fighting in the second half. On the draw, Joe Weber down to the 40. Let's check in with Leslie Goodell.
Sean, you know, in the beginning of the game, I was standing on the Iowa State sideline, and I couldn't hear a thing. Well, it's very quiet over here now. The players are hanging their heads. Some of them are getting frustrated. Some of them don't even want to watch, sitting on the bench. And you talked about the fans booing. I think they've turned on them.
Seemed that way a moment ago. A&M not content with a 20-0 lead. The Aggies used a timeout, leaving them with 2. A tough half for this defense, coordinated by John Skladaney. And until this program, the next step for them, Ed, really is to beat one of the premier programs in this conference, something they have not been able to do. They've made great strides under Dan McCarney, but Iowa State is 0-22 against the teams you would generally consider to be the top 6 in the Big 12 Conference. Colorado, K-State, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas A&M. They haven't beaten any of them dating back even to before Coach McCarney got here, the last 28 meetings, and they have a couple of those foes on the remaining schedule. They need one more win to be bowl eligible, and you'd have to think if they get that 6th win, they're going to go.
Well, because as there are so many bowls out there right now, it's thought that Iowa State, first bowl in so long that they would travel very well, and that becomes a very important thing for a bowl to look at how many tickets you would sell to one of the participating teams.
Third down, a long two. It's the quarterback draw again out of the shotgun. Ferris lost the football, and the Cyclones have recovered. The A&M sideline in an uproar. They thought Ferris was down by contact before the ball popped out, and they might have a point. It was very close, but ruled a fumble. Jamarcus Powers knocked it out and then recovered it.
What a great call by Steve Craigthorpe, the offensive. Oh, what a beautiful play by Hayward to get his left hand in there. Sean, you're right, it was close. But no question, Hayward got that left hand in there and knocked it out.
That was a fumble. It was still in the air.
Yes, no question.
Coach Slocum's hot, but that was definitely a fumble. He was in the air when that ball came out. Big break for Iowa State, just what Rosenfels and the Cyclones need from the A&M 46. The option he keeps, and it closes up quickly. And the crowd boos again with just one timeout and a minute and a half left. They're going to run a lot of time off the clock with that play. Evan Peroni and Cornelius Anthony combined on the tackle. The Cyclones go without a huddle.
This is where a guy, a fifth-year senior like Rosenfels, will excel because he knows this entire offense can get a call.
Goes quickly. Short of a first down to Craig Campbell to the 41-yard line. And they still need 5 for a first down.
Boy, what a nice job by Texas A&M. They're playing back a little bit in a zone and just not letting any of these fast receivers from Iowa State get by them. Everything has to be thrown underneath.
Rosenfels under pressure with a 4-man rush and throws short. Had to throw it while backing up, and that made the pass be short of Chris Anthony. Ron Edwards put the heat on. You'd think that Iowa State would go for it here on 4th down.
Well, Dan McCarney not even showing any inkling of sending in the punting unit until just now. And Sean, now you're going to hear the boos.
I think with good reason. Even with this little time left, Ed, you wonder how aggressive the Aggies would be if they get the ball back here. They probably would try. They tried a moment ago to score with a 20-0 lead. Didn't sit on it. Well, it is a punt. And it's downed inside the 5-yard line. Back by their special team standout Doug Densmore. And now it's very likely the Aggies will take a knee and take the 20-0 lead to the house.
Had that ball gone into the end zone, I wouldn't be surprised if Slocum maybe would have taken a shot or two. But you, Sean, inside that 5, don't mess around. Just get the ball and down it, run out the clock, and get to the house.
Remind you of the great matchup in Monday Night Football. The Dolphins at 5-1, the Jets 5-1. Live at 9 Eastern, and then at halftime, the first Bowl Championship Series rankings will be announced right here, exclusively on ABC. Ferris keeps, and that'll be the last play of the half. Unless Iowa State wants to use its one timeout, and that wouldn't do much.
Dan McCarney was talking this week about selling this place out, getting as many people as he could to come here and see this ball game. Cannot be very happy with what his crowd is seeing now, and they're letting him know about it.
Well, we started to say earlier, another thing perhaps at stake is a contract extension for Coach McCarney. His contract expires at the end of next season. And with the success of this year, there's been some momentum to give him that contract extension to aid in the recruiting process right now. Halftime in Ames. Great performance by the Aggies on both sides of the ball. 20-0. Texas A&M has the lead. Here's Leslie.
Coach, 20-point deficit. Obviously, you didn't expect to be here at this point. How do you overcome this in the second half?
Well, we're going to have to come back and start executing more. The block punt really hurt us. That hadn't happened all year, and it was a big play by A&M. They're playing great football, and we're not. We've got to come back. We'll find out what this team's made of in the second half.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.
Big first half for Mark Ferris. He threw for 151 yards, and the Aggies lead 20-0 at halftime. J.J. Moses and Jermaine Billups, the deep men. And no chance to return it. That's out of the back of the end zone on the fly. Well, just about every way you look at it in the first half, it was a terrific half for Texas A&M, led by the quarterback Mark Ferris.
Mark Ferris was sensational. You almost get the feeling that Texas A&M said, yeah, it's a big game for Iowa State, but what about us? And Mark Ferris, a 25-year-old sophomore, came out with sensational 151 yards passing, stood up to the pressure of Iowa State, and somehow, some way, Texas A&M finally got a running game going.
We'd also like to thank Juanier and Tuscany Italian Restaurant for their support.
On first down, Sage Rosenfels throws a deep ball, and it is incomplete. Intended for Chris Anthony. The ball just a little bit out in front of him, and he could not make the catch. And they were going for the big play they need to begin the second half, and Anthony is not getting up. Let's check in with Leslie Goodell.
Sean, I spoke with Coach Slocum as he was coming back out onto the field, and he said this game is not over yet. They may be up 20-0, but they have a lot of respect for this young team. They're also playing on the road. He said he told the guys at the half, pretend the score is 0-0. Go out with the same focus, the same intensity, and you'll be all right.
That's an old coach's trick. Tell the players, hey guys, it's 0-0. But the one thing that I think both R.C. Slocum and Dan McCarney were kind of thinking was maybe the players, especially for Texas A&M, thought, yeah, sure, it's still just Iowa State. Well, R.C. Slocum obviously got the point across to his team that this is not your usual Iowa State team, and they've come out and played that way.
Anthony has gone off. 3 wide receivers on the field. Rosenfels throws, incomplete. Iowa State just cannot make a play on offense so far in this game. J.J. Moses dropped the ball. He does not have a catch today. Averages 6 per game to lead the Big 12 coming in. We look at the Morgan Stanley Dean Witter first half stats.
Takes a little misleading 2 for 7 Texas A&M on third down, but 2 for 9 Iowa State. Those have been when they had a little bit of a drive going out towards midfield. They've just really struggled. 4 penalties, 26 yards, but those came at times, especially when Texas A&M had him stopped and giving them some yardage.
Rosenfels hit as he threw, got it to the tight end. Mike Banks, first down. Rosenfels, under duress all day, did very well to get that one off with Jason Glenn right in his face, and Banks did the rest.
There's Banks coming all the way over from being lined up on the left side of the formation. 6'4", 254 pounds, goes by the moniker Manimal because of his incredible desire to get his blocks finished. He's a really ferocious blocker, but has really stepped up in receiving the ball this year.
Throws so far from Rosenfels, and Craig Campbell has the catch and goes out of bounds at the 42-yard line, close to another first down. Sean Weston knocked him out. He's a redshirt freshman from Inglewood, California. Grew up in a tough neighborhood near the Forum in Los Angeles. So he couldn't even play outside as a kid very often. His family kept him on the right track and kept him away from gangs, and now he's at A&M.
Well, no wonder he decided to leave town and go to Texas, where it's a little safer in College Station.
Hand off to Haywood. A lot of ball faking, but they didn't fake out. The defense led by Brian Gamble, sophomore from Alto, Texas. Their leading tackler coming in with 65. That's 20 more than any other Aggie defender.
And this is where Brian Gamble really excels. Good job in the backfield, but that time Gamble was coming on a blitz. Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator, says this guy very good on the run. A lot of linebackers, you blitz him and they run right by the play. Not this guy, keeps his head up and makes play.
They lost a yard on that play. Third down and 2, and they lose more yardage on that play. Chris Anthony, who had to be helped off a moment ago, back in there to make the catch, and Jason Glenn made the tackle for a loss of 2 more.
This Aggie defense, everybody wants to talk about Mark Ferris and how good they are at throwing the ball, but they're top 20 in the country in total defense. They had a couple of games where they struggled, but they've played fairly well the entire season, playing very good against the good Iowa State offense.
Gomez gets off an excellent punt into the wind. Chris Taylor retreating from the 14, looking for running room. And doesn't find much, and a late flag thrown as Taylor went out of bounds at the 16-yard line. That's Gomez, the punter, who is injured. And he doubles as their place kicker as well these days, with the difficulties being experienced by Mike McKnight. Well, he cannot continue. That would be a double loss.
Well, Sean, it was Jay Brooks well after the play, hunts up Gomez and hits him in the back on the side. Just a cheap shot by Brooks. You know, he's the kicker. He's down there as a safety guy. Let that go. You don't need to make that hit.
Texas A&M.
And that wasn't even what the flag was for. The flag was thrown way back near where the man went out of bounds.
Holding on the return take. Half the distance to the goal line. First down.
Your contribution to the United Way of Story County House for 32 Human Service Agencies.
And Carl Gomez helped off.
United Way, Wayne Story County cares, community by community. Gomez was injured on the play.
Tomorrow to be some battle when the lawyers of the practice take on a federal judge for the very first time. An all-new practice tomorrow at 10. Harris hands it off on first down to Joe Weber. He was the leading rusher for A&M in the first half with 55 yards on 11 carries. Ryan Harklaw and Reggie Hayward took him down.
The one thing Dan McCarney talked about that he finally has on this team is a full complement of seniors. He has 23 seniors this year, and this is a point in the game where he's going to need seniors like Reggie Hayward and Harklaw to step up and make some plays, cause a turnover too. And I mean, down 20-0 with this offense, get some kind of momentum. That leadership might help them start to turn this thing around.
And out of the shotgun, Ferris on the rollout, throws for a first down by Chris Taylor at the 20-yard line. His first catch of the day. He's a senior from Madisonville, Texas, out of Madisonville High School. We played quarterback, running back, defensive back. He was the place kicker. Wasn't highly recruited out of high school, but the A&M coaches saw his speed and excellent hands and brought him in.
You mentioned his speed. He had touchdown catches of 61, 78, 81 in that A&M record of 96 yards last year against Tulsa. He can get behind the defense in a hurry.
And back now to Mark Toombs on 1st and 10 from the 20. And Toombs got back across the line of scrimmage, and that was it. Tripped up by Derek Walker.
Kevin Durandi, the defensive end, doing a nice job getting up underneath the block of the right tackle. He's one of the guys that John Skladany calls one of his steady eddies. He doesn't make a whole lot of huge plays, but he's a guy that they can count on. A junior from here in Iowa, Pella, Iowa.
He's from the heart of Dutch country here in Iowa, about an hour south of Ames. Ferris sings it caught. Robert Ferguson struggling to get to the first down marker. Didn't quite get there with his third reception of the game.
But Sean, this is where you see why the A&M coaches really like this guy. Not only does he have the speed, Ferguson, but Steve Craigthorpe, the offensive coordinator, said he benches well over 400 pounds. Watch how hard it is for 3 Iowa State Cyclones, now 4, to get him down. He was fighting, knowing where he had to get for the first down. A very physical wide receiver.
Robert's a junior, JC transfer from Tyler Junior College. 3rd down and a yard. Toombs has the first down following the block of Stacy Jones.
We talked about at the beginning of the game the incredible transformation that Jamar Toombs has had to make. He was the starting I-back last year, the last 2 ball games of the season. Rushed for close to 200 yards against Texas, had 126 yards rushing. But now he has to play kind of the bruising back. He's 275 pounds, so he's built for the job, but it is quite a change to make to go to that fullback position.
Toombs in front of Weber now in the eye. Play action fake by Ferris. Throwing another deep ball. Just a little bit too long for Bethel Johnson with Jamarcus Powers in coverage.
Take a look at the two quarterbacks today, what they've been doing. Rosenfels, 10 of 18, but he's missed some balls that were wide open. 169 yards now for Mark Ferris. He's just had a great day. But the thing that he's going to look at, Sean, when he looks at this film, he's 25 years old. He played minor league baseball, so very critical of his own performance. He's going to look at a couple of those deep balls. That was another one that, although Powers had good coverage on the receiver, was just a little overthrown.
And he should have had one more long touchdown on the ball that was dropped in the first half by Goins. Joe Weber tackled by Dustin Avey at the 36. They'll need 5 on 3rd down to move the chains. 10.5 minutes left, 3rd quarter. It's been all A&M since a block punt early in the first quarter led to a short touchdown run by Mark Ferris for R.C. Slocum.
R.C. Slocum has 5 10-win seasons, 94 wins in the 90s, the most by a Division I school in Texas in a decade.
Ferris to throw on 3rd down. He's buried by Reggie Hayward.
Hayward does a very nice job. He's rushing up against Michael Mahan. Wow, he's very quick. He runs about a 3.1 40, but he's working right here with Michael Mahan. Mahan gets turned a little bit too quickly. What a great shot Hayward puts on Ferris, but it was a nice job on a 3-step drop of getting around that corner quickly.
Iowa State came after the punter, Cody Skates. He got it off with the win, J.J. Moses. Look out! All the way back to the 40-yard line of Texas A&M. The punter, Cody Skates, had to make the tackle. A 46-yard punt, but a 37-yard return, and the loudest cheers of the afternoon heard from this capacity crowd.
Well, Cody Skates played safety at high school along with being a kicker. And I mentioned in the open how as many big plays as J.J. Moses has, the only thing he hasn't done is return a punt or a kickoff for a touchdown. One guy to beat, Cody Skates, a former safety, had 111 tackles last year as a senior at Lee High School in Tyler, Texas. That was probably bigger than any of those 111 he had in high school.
And he was an all-district safety with those numbers. And it's Haywood bouncing down to the 35-yard line, a gain of 5 on 1st down. The clock will run under 9 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
That was what Iowa State needed. They needed some kind of shot in the arm, get this crowd back into it. Coach McCarney brought his team out. They seemed to have a little more life when they came out in the second half. He is the ultimate salesman. He gets a lot of guys. When we talked to Ryan Harklaw, the senior defensive tackle, recruited heavily by Iowa, he said, I wouldn't have been at Iowa State if it wasn't for this man and how he sold me on the program.
He makes you a believer even in the face of all those losing seasons that he inherited and endured as head coach when he first came here. Terrible throw by Rosenfels and an interception by Michael Jamison. Well, as a senior quarterback, he should know much better than that. He just threw it up for grabs right down the middle of the field, and Jamison has his 2nd interception of the season. A&M back on offense, leading 20-0. Michael Jamison, the senior from Killeen, Texas, the 2nd interception of the season. And A&M takes over on offense from its own 37, leading 20-0. Flag down that stops the play. Look like Billy Yates, a backup guard who's come in.
For the snap, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
Take a look at that interception again. There was good pressure up the middle. It still was a bad. But this is Lennis Smith, a true freshman who's going to come around on the nose guard defensive tackle stunt and get into the face of Rosenfels. This is a guy, Smith, that they didn't even really expect to play this year. They've had a couple of injuries, but really just amazing development for the true freshman out of Tyler, Texas, and they haven't been able to keep him off the field. That time, a young guy, no run a stunt. In high school, you don't run a lot of stunts. A nice job by him getting around the nose guard and getting the pressure on Rosenfels.
Ferris guns one for a 1st down across midfield. Bethel Johnson made the catch. And it is a 1st down. Love the story about Linus Smith. His mother used to help him remember his assignments when he was a high school football player. He said he and his mom would line up on defense in the living room, and she'd take pillows and spread them out in an offensive formation. And he'd learn how to line up around the pillows with the help from his mother.
Well, I hope he never got angry at her. Decided to take her out a little bit. That happened to Dan McCarney this week in practice. He broke a couple of ribs when he got nailed.
Option and juggled for a moment, but caught by Weber, who stayed in bounds and is down short of a first down, it seems, by about a half yard at the 39-yard line. Well, here's Jamison's reaction, and Slocum didn't like his reaction, the hot dogging.
And, you know, that's good to see, Sean. There comes a time when it's okay to celebrate, but everything, it seems nowadays, everything has to be about me. Look what I did. Well, what about what your team has done? You got help from a true freshman who got some pressure. It's a team game, and it's good to see Slocum doing that.
Whoa. Way too early up the field was Robert Ferguson. He thought he was in Canada.
Before the snap, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Well, he's heading north just a bit prematurely.
He runs a sub 4.5 40, but I don't think he needs to get the jump start on that one.
Time now for the Aflac trivia question. The last time Iowa State went to a bowl game was 1978. What movie won for Best Picture? What was the album of the year? We're branching into all different areas as the season progresses on the Aflac trivia question. 1978. Ferris throws too high, looking for Ferguson. They throw a flag for that contact after the ball went over the head of Ferguson. Jamarcus Powers hit him. Wow.
What a big penalty, too, because it would have been 3rd and 6 or 7 yards, and now an automatic first down, and because of where it is, a huge pickup.
Well, is he supposed to know that that ball's overthrown and not caught? I mean, he's closing in to make a tackle on a player he thinks is going to catch the ball.
You're right, Sean. It's very tough sometimes when that ball's thrown that high, and Powers is going in to take a... He's got to look at where the receiver is because the ball's already on its way.
After the play was over, personal foul on the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Let me ask you this question. You think if they had not thrown a flag on this, the A&M sideline would have complained? They weren't.
Oh, Sean, what is that call? He's going down to make the tackle because the ball's coming in. That's a horrible call by the officials.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And Dan McCarney, like he doesn't have enough going against him this afternoon, being down 20-0. That is a really, really bad call.
From the 29-yard line, 1st and 10. Weber, another flag thrown from downtown Ames. Very late as Weber was going out of bounds. This might be the makeup.
Well, there's one up top, too, where Robert Ferguson and Jamarcus Powers were going at it. So we're going to have 2 different penalties.
Been a pretty cleanly played and well officiated game today. There are 2 flags on the field, one in the middle of the field, one on the sideline. Well, we just gave you a big break. Now we're going to call 2 on you.
But, Sean, even though a little bit of a makeup, maybe bringing it back, because of where Jamarcus Powers was called for that penalty, you get inside the 30-yard line. You still get great field position even with this penalty.
I'm talking it over with Ryan Harklaw, one of the defensive captains.
Holding on the offense. That penalty is declined. Illegal block on the offense. That penalty is accepted. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. It remains first down.
Robert Ferguson and Jamarcus Powers working one-on-one. This is where the flag was thrown on the other side of the field. You mentioned the one that was thrown on the near sideline. This one was thrown right there because even though the head of Ferguson was there, it looked like he got the back of his legs. That's why the official called the illegal block below the waist.
First down and 18. Ball back at the 37-yard line of Iowa State. 20-0 Texas A&M. Greg Porter makes the catch and is down at the 33-yard line. Johnny Smith, redshirt freshman reserve defensive back from Bradenton, Florida, made the tackle. He's out of Southeast High School. That's a great high school football program in Bradenton.
And you've got a guy out there having to cover one-on-one because John Splodani brought a full-out blitz, defensive coordinator for Iowa State. He said, when I do bring a blitz, we have to get there because Mark Ferris is so cool in the pocket, even though he's only a sophomore. He just stands there and takes it, and that time he did.
2nd and 14. Ferris incomplete. Mickey Jones, the intended receiver. Interesting, so much throwing here with the big lead by Texas A&M.
Well, it's amazing because at the beginning of the game, they started establishing the run, which they hadn't done all year, and now they get ahead, and they go back to what they had been doing all season, was flinging it around.
A&M has rushed for 117 yards today and thrown for 194. A total of 311, while Iowa State, averaging 446 yards of total offense per game, has 130 so far today. 3rd down and 14. 5 receivers. Empty backfield out of the shotgun. Ferris throws it away. And bear in mind, Kitchens, their field goal kicker, has the sore groin, and R.C. Slocum said he probably wouldn't try long field goals. And this would be a long one in the neighborhood of 50 yards, although it is with the wind. And they are going to let Kitchens try it. So apparently that groin is loosened up enough now that he can go.
Well, you mentioned earlier that making a couple of kicks, splitting the uprights, probably made it feel a lot better. As we take a look, there is that strong tailwind. So maybe Slocum, I would imagine Kitchens was over there selling Coach Slocum on letting him go out and try this one.
He has a good leg when he's healthy, as long as this year is 40. It's a 50-yarder from the left hash mark, and he drilled it. Good from 50 yards. 6 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Slocum smiling. Yeah, I bet that groin really hurts. Three to nothing in favor of Texas A&M. They're trying to pitch back-to-back shutouts after the blanking of Baylor in Waco last week. And the kickoff by Cody Skates goes through the end zone. College football on ABC Sports is brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Burger King. Got the urge? By Morgan Stanley Dean Witter. Move your money, get well connected. And by Inspired Technology with a human touch. Nokia, connecting people.
Now, if you're Iowa State, it's time to start moving up to the line of scrimmage a little quicker. Scrap some of the things in your offense that make the clock move. Too many ticks between plays. You got to get some kind of sense of urgency. Down 23 with 6 minutes left in the 3rd.
On the run, Michael Wagner. Gain of 8 out to the 28-yard line. He's from La Puente, California. Redshirt freshman, 2nd all-time leading rusher at Bishop Amat High School in Southern California, behind the former Colorado All-American and NFL player Eric Bieniemy.
I saw enough of Bieniemy in college. They beat us up two times in a row. They came to our place and beat us by about 40, and they beat us in the last second. Bieniemy ran up and down the field in our defense.
2nd down and 2. Wagner drives for the 1st down. To the 32-yard line. Cornelius Anthony, the linebacker, made the tackle. Wagner played a little bit last year as a true freshman. Dislocated his elbow, missed the rest of the season.
I had a friend dislocate his elbow in college, Sean. He said he also blew out his knee at one point. Said it was the most painful injury, even over the knee surgery, dislocated an elbow.
It's the 5th first down for the Cyclones. Trying to stay patient with the run. Cornelius Anthony stuffed Wagner. Glenn also in on the stop.
Sean, you're down 23-0. I really think that you have to start pulling out all the stops. I mean, I know Wagner had a good game last week against Oklahoma State. You want to keep balance in your offense, but with a 5th-year senior quarterback, I think it's time for Coach McCarney and his staff to start heaving this thing down the field and get into a little hurry-up mode.
Rosenfels has not had a good day, but he's been under duress much of the day, too. Every little gain seems to come with great difficulty. That was Mike Banks making a nice catch in traffic with Harold Robertson right on him. But that's a gain only to the 35-yard line. They'll need 7 on 3rd down here. Sage Rosenfels. His parents, as you might suspect, admit to being hippies when they were younger. Now comfortably middle class, as is so often the transition. Sage, one of 5 children, Jaya, Jaffa, Jeremiah, and Sasha, his siblings. Jeremiah, watching in Denver, usually makes the 10-hour trip. So Sage hit as he threw, and it was almost intercepted. Royland Bradley came on a blitz and put the heat on Rosenfels. And then another punt. I've been distracted at trying to come up with the answer to our athletic trivia question.
I've noticed that
the best
long
movie from 1978. I'm thinking Jaws was back in that.
It's a pretty good guess. I'm going to go with an album from the Bee Gees. That's the only thing I could come up with.
Whoa!
Hey,
There you go. The Deer Hunter.
Oh, okay.
Was the picture. And John Madry, I think our statistician, came up with Saturday Night Fever. If you want to take
I
credit
said
for
the
that.
Bee Gees, though. I did say the Bee Gees before he said that.
Fair catch. The Gomez punt called for and made by Taylor. So Gomez, who was helped off the field earlier, able to stay in and kick. 3:29 left in the 3rd quarter. It's been a disappointing day for the Cyclones in Ames. McDonough, Ed Cunningham, Leslie Goodell back at Jack Trice Stadium in Ames, Iowa. Texas A&M with a comfortable 23-0 lead and the football. 3.5 left in the 3rd quarter. Ferris throws a lateral. Wayne Goins, flag thrown. Goins down at the 36-yard line, and everybody in the stadium saw that infraction.
Bethel Johnson's going to get called for a very obvious block in the back. When you do it right near the ball, everybody's going to see it.
I'm surprised the Aggies came out throwing again with this 23-point lead.
Well, I'm surprised that it's not the other way around, that Iowa State wasn't throwing it on their last one, and now A&M's throwing it. I know this season in college
illegal
football.
block in the back on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. Remains 1st down.
I know it's been kind of a wild year in college football, but this is a little crazy. There's Bethel right here. When you see a guy's number and you don't see a face mask above it, you see the back of a helmet, you got to pull off. I mean, Reggie Hayward had his back to Bethel Johnson, and Bethel decided to try to knock out the big fella.
And the man he hit in the back, Reggie Hayward, has left the field, their best defensive player. 1st down and 24. Back at the 25-yard line. Weber. A loss of 1. He stumbled down. Tackled by Kevin Durandi. John Skladany, the defensive coordinator, raving about Durandi. Not an enormously talented player, but a great motor, as the coaches like to say. John Skladany said he's the same every day. All out in practice, all out on every play in every game.
Type of guy that becomes a leader. He's a junior, part of the leadership group, and that's what you need from guys who are in there playing every day. They have to practice hard, so all the young guys who come in can feed off of that energy.
2nd and 25. They showed Blitz, but dropped out of it. Toombs the catch, and he gets nothing. A yard, perhaps a yard and a half, before Derek Walker drove him back. At the conclusion of today's game, we will select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund.
You know, I don't believe this Derek Walker guy used to be a quarterback, Sean. The way he has come up and hit some folks today, it's been since high school that he lined up on the defensive side of the ball, but he is a really physical player for an ex-quarterback.
Harris running the play clock down to 6 before he took the snap. He throws. It is caught for a 1st down as Ferguson escapes. Robert Ferguson all the way down to the 36-yard line.
Was it just me, or did you think he was going to run the wrong way for a second? Ferguson catches this, and I think he expects, right down here at the bottom of your screen, I think he expects a lot more red shirts to be around as he runs out of the arm tackle of Johnny Smith. Turns around, maybe he's yelling, hey guys, come down and help me. I thought he was going to head off in the other direction.
38-yard gain. They continue to make big plays again today in the passing game. The Aggies done through much of this season. Weber wrapped up by Matt Word and Doug Densmore. That was a big first down. They could run more time off the clock. And now they're in field goal range. Although it would help the cause of Kitchens if they're going to kick a field goal long range if they did it going the direction they're heading right now and time is running out in the quarter.
Yeah, this win that helped him nail that 52-yarder with his bad groin and all is going to make a 32-yarder feel like about a 60-yarder when he goes the other way.
Kitchens now 5 out of 7 in his career from 50 yards plus. Terrific long-range kicker. Ferris, after a lot of fakes, throws incomplete behind his intended receiver Mickey Jones. Johnny Smith had the coverage, and we check in with John Saunders at Times Square Stadium. John in the Big Ten, if that one stands. Young team at Michigan State this season.
Ollie Williams took over there for Nick Saban. They got a really good start, but they've struggled of late.
On third down, good catch by Weber. And he gets nothing. Back near the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Stevie Johnson made the tackle. Let's check in with Leslie Goodell.
Sean, earlier in the game, I spoke with Terrence Kitchens and I asked him how far he thought he could kick today. He said he didn't know. Well, after that last 50-yarder came over by the sidelines and said, was that good? He said it's still a little tight. I'd hate to see what that holds him back from. What, 65 yards, something like that?
Well, they're talking to Kitchens on the sideline right now about another possible long field goal try.
Well, he holds the A&M record, a 62-yarder, so even with the bad groin, who knows, he might still have the leg for it.
Well, now they're lined up to go for it on fourth down and 8. And Ferris throws incomplete. Too high, looking for Robert Ferguson. And that's the end of the third quarter. Texas A&M leads 23-0. ABC Sports presentation of college football will return after this message and a word from our ABC station. Iowa. Texas A&M looking for back-to-back shutouts. Out of the Baylor Bears last week. And they blanked this high-powered Iowa State attack through 3 quarters. Sage Rosenfels going deep into double coverage and incomplete. It was intended for Craig Campbell. Terrence Keel nearest in coverage. And this has been an outstanding performance by the A&M wrecking crew defense.
Good job up front. They basically shut down the rushing attack. Sage Rosenfels has had nowhere to go deep, Sean. This A&M defense has done an amazing job of switching up. And then they get a great rush by Lennis Smith, the true freshman in the middle. And Jamison gets the interception. 144 total yards for Iowa State on offense, averaging nearly 450.
And forced now to throw it on virtually every down. The pass too high for J.J. Moses. And when he has had time, Rosenfels still has not been sharp. And it's, I'm sure, very disappointing for a lot of reasons. But a lot of folks around the country haven't seen much of Sage Rosenfels, although on TV more and more these days. Dan McCarney said at the beginning of the year we thought we'd be on TV once. We knew we were going to be on once. Now it's 4 times. It'll be 5 next week. And that helps exposure. It helps the coffers. You get money when you're on TV.
Helps pay for beautiful new buildings like they build in the north end zone over there. All the new offices.
Rosenfels 10 for 23 for 59 yards today. On the rollout, throwing deep, and it is broken up. Intended for J.J. Moses. Flag thrown. Michael Jamison broke it up.
And Sean, you could have gone either way on this. Both guys. But it looked to me like J.J. Moses was the one who might have been doing most of the pushing, trying to get some position.
Pass interference on the defense.
Wow.
15-yard penalty. The previous spot, automatic first down.
Take a look at the replay, but initially it looked to me like J.J. 5'6", 170. J.J. right here running one-on-one with Moses, gets right by him. Watch the right hand.
Oh, my.
I don't know how you call it. I mean, I don't think you call it either way.
No,
but if
awful.
you were going to call it, right, the hand of Moses definitely was the one that was causing the problem on Jamison, not the other way around.
Again, you look at the sideline of a play like that. There wasn't anybody on the Iowa State sideline jumping up and down, screaming for a flag, and out it comes. Rosenfels throws, caught for a first down to the 36-yard line. J.J. Moses with the catch, his first of the day. He averages 6 receptions per game to lead the Big 12 coming in, and 158.5 all-purpose yards per game, 11th in the nation, but very little from J.J. today. That's a 15-yard gain.
At 5'6", 170, Iowa State has to do a lot of different things with him, bring him in motion, move him around, and A&M, it's obvious what their plan was today. They've got 2 defensive backs over there right now bracketing him. Watch maybe for the corner blitz. There it comes.
And on the draw, Ennis Hayward. For a gain of 1. Jay Brooks made the tackle. Again, we want to remind you about Monday Night Football. Great matchup in the AFC East. The Dolphins, they're 5-1. The Jets, 5-1. It's live at 9 Eastern. And at halftime of the game, the first Bowl Championship Series rankings will be announced right here on ABC.
Well, that BCS, that ranking that's going to come out Monday night, I just have a feeling it's going to change time and time again before we finally know who's going to be playing.
Based on a combination of a lot of polls and other factors. Rosenfeld option, Brian Gamble made the tackle. Who do you think, I think we both agree Nebraska's going to be number 1, but who do you think should be number 2 right after them?
You know, I'm going to say Virginia Tech just because I like the way they've played. But, you know, you mentioned earlier how Texas A&M at 4-2 hadn't played that many folks. Neither has Virginia Tech. I mean, November 4th against Miami. Talk about things changing in the BCS. That weekend's going to go a long way to decide who.
Why not look ahead tonight at Syracuse? That can be dangerous in the Carrier Dome if you look past the Orangemen. Rosenfels throws on the run, incomplete. It'll be 4th down and 6. J.J. Moses, the intended target. Nice gesture by J.J. Knocked down the photographer and gave him a little rub on the head.
Well, there's been a lot of guys standing on the sidelines getting hit. Dan McCarney this week during practice, they were running the 2-minute drill, and he plays the official during that 2-minute drill. He put the ball down, and backup quarterback Jaron Scott snapped it too soon before he was out of the way. One of the big defensive linemen, 290-pounder, came and knocked him down, broke 3 of his ribs. He had to get a pain-killing shot before today's game.
I think he's in pain again after watching this.
That painkiller's not doing much for him.
Well, they can generate some hope if they can convert here. Already benefited from a very shaky pass interference call to keep this drive alive. Here comes the blitz. Rosenfeld's running for his life, throws it. Short of a first down. J.J. Moses the catch, but he's short of a first down by about 2 yards. Jay Brooks and Brian Gamble put the heat on Rosenfels and forced the quick throw.
Boy, what a great game called by Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator for Texas A&M. He's just changed things up so many times. What a great blitz by Brian Gamble.
12:56 remaining. We'll return to Ames, Iowa right after this. Still having a good time. Despite the score for their team, 23-0 Texas A&M. Attempt to keep it on the ground now with Joe Weber. Reggie Hayward made his 9th tackle of the game on Weber.
Been very active up front for the defensive line. We mentioned earlier how he is the second leading tackler in the defensive tackle. James Reed is the leading tackler. They're very active up front for Iowa State.
One interesting offshoot of this game, the presence of Pete Hainer on the coaching staff at Texas A&M. I wonder how many tips he passed along to the defensive coaches. He's the running backs coach here at A&M, but last year he was the offensive coordinator at Iowa State. He left to go back to Texas, to A&M, because he has a couple of daughters in school in Texas and felt at this time in his career family considerations were more important, and he loves A&M. But Coach Hainer knows the personnel very well on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball for Iowa State.
Well, whatever he passed along is paying off, because the Texas A&M defense could not have played a better game. I know there's 12 minutes left and they still have to finish out this ball game, but boy, what a show that they have put on. Changed up so many different things, given so many different looks to the Cyclones.
3rd down and 3. Ferris has run effectively out of the shotgun a couple times today. Here he comes again. to the 46-yard line and a first down. Now that seemed pretty obvious, and given that 3rd and 3,
I was going to give you a pat on the back for saying that.
Clock moving, but apparently it wasn't as obvious to the Cyclones.
Well, they've got more than can be blocked in the box. Chris Whitaker, the linebacker, went completely unblocked, but Ferris just made him miss.
Mark Ferris, married, has a 4-year-old daughter, 25-year-old sophomore for the minor league baseball career. Weber goes out of bounds in Iowa State territory at the 49-yard line.
And his offensive line is going to have a talk with Joe Weber when he gets back to the huddle. When you're up 23-zip, 11 minutes left, you don't want guys stepping out of bounds. Weber just a sophomore, but he was trying to fight to stay in bounds, but he was running out of real estate.
11 minutes remaining. Will go out of the shotgun with these 3 receivers to his left. Option to the short side. He's down about 1.5 yards short of the first down. Tackled by Jordan Karstens, a redshirt freshman, number 92, who came here as a walk-on. Weighed 228 pounds last year when he walked on. So deep down the depth chart, they had a 105-man roster. He wasn't listed on it, but he bulked up, got in the weight room, kept eating. Now he's 275 and a second-teamer as a redshirt freshman.
And the amazing part was that John Splodani, the defense coordinator, said he's still lean. You look at him, he's not a big, heavy-set guy. You figured if he gained that much weight, he'd be chubby, but he said he's still lean and still gaining weight. He has the frame to put all that weight on.
On 3rd and short, Toombs didn't get there. Reggie Hayward again. He's had a great game. He is definitely an all-conference performer. The senior from Dolton, Illinois.
And that was part of the motivation that Dan McCarney used coming into the season. They were picked anywhere from 10th to 12th to finish in the Big 12, and they had nobody on the first team, all Big 12 preseason team, and that was one of the goals they put on the board. Let's get somebody on the all-conference. I don't know how Hayward doesn't make it first team this year.
Cody Skate and punt formation.
Cody Skate will punt. He's going to run the clock down. And a short wobbly punt, and J.J. Moses with a fair catch at the 17-yard line. 27 remaining. That's the time standing between the Aggies. Another shutout.